So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're actually dialing from. You're welcome. This is once again Masterclass with Dr. Bandele. Yes, we've been doing this for the past 28 weeks now. Yeah, because this is the 14th edition of Masterclass. And I'm quite happy about this class because not only that, it's going to be quite engaging, it's going to be very, very interactive. It promises to be very educating. It's also going to be a great time, a great session as a parent, because I'm a parent. So I've been looking forward to such amazing opportunity to learn, to hear about parenting again, to understand a lot of things that I've not probably been doing right, or probably others have not been doing right, and to also learn a lot from people. So I'm quite happy that I'm here today, and I'm sure that you all are also quite glad to be here. Once again, this is Masterclass with Dr. Bandele, and this is Module 14. We're going to be talking about parenting in times like this. So who is Phinnah Chichi? So I'll say Phinnah Chichi is a passionate parenting educator. She's a consultant, and she's a personal development coach. Okay, she has worked with several parents of teens and teens over 10 years. She has worked with people across Nigeria and even outside Nigeria. She's not based in Nigeria. She'll tell you a bit about that in a few moments. She runs an organization called Parenting Teens Solution Limited, which is dedicated to actually educating and empowering youth and encouraging and equipping parents as well with the right tools to help them develop their kids, and also she developed the teens as well, and also help teens in navigating their adolescent journey. All right. She has a mission, okay? And what is that mission? Our mission is to help, support, and disrupt. Phinnah, I love that word. Disrupt wrong parenting habits and disrupt wrong parenting norms and transform the lives of families through serving both the parents and the kids, and especially the teens. All right, this is Phinnah Chichi. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I make welcome the amazing, wonderful teen educators, teen motivator, teen coach, and the dream of every child and parent, Phinnah Chichi. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. Talking to parents and teenagers is my life. It's a big passion of mine, and I know I'm mandated to actually do that. So it's an assignment for me. So every time I get an opportunity to share from what I know, from my experience, I'm always very, very honored. I don't take it at all. So everyone that's on this platform, I saw the chats, everyone, parent to be, you are in the right space. And the whole idea of today is of transformation. We have our different ways that we parent. I'm not here to correct I'm not here to tell you this is the way to parent your child, but I am here for you to now think into yourself and say, am I doing the right things? What are the wrong things I'm doing? And what do I need to unlearn? So it's going to be you doing a lot of reflections as I talk. It's going to be you doing a lot of thinking, truthful reflections as I speak. So that's really the whole point. From what Topper said, yes, I've been doing this for over 10 years. I started with young people first, encouraging young people, inspiring young people. And then I moved over to parents as well, because as I was talking to young people, inspiring young people, they were going back home to, let me use the word, toxic situations. We're going back home to parents who didn't believe them, or who didn't really use the right words with them. And so I needed to change that. And that was why I jumped into the parenting scene years ago, when parenting, and when I started it, the parenting stuff was not even available. I was the only one doing it. I was like, okay, what's happening? And then we kept on going. But I'm glad that we didn't give up, because today's topic, parenting in a time like this, it really does now make sense with what I started years ago. In this time, it really does now make sense. So I am looking forward to sharing what I've got to share. And then at the end, I think we've got loads of questions and stuff.
We're going to address those questions. And Just as I said earlier, guys, please just make use of that same chat button, and let's have the questions coming in. You don't have to wait till the end of the discussion. Just bring the questions on. All right. So I am not the guest, okay? So I don't have that much experience. My parenting experience only started about 9 years ago, okay? So I have seniors, okay, ahead of me. So I look forward to learning myself. Guys, I have my notes, and I really look forward to you keeping notes as well, all right? So if you also have your teens, your children around you, it doesn't really matter. I think it's okay for you to bring them close to your phone or close to your computer, and let's learn together. Yeah. So Phinnah, parenting in times like this. What is the times? What are the times?
Wow.
Let me put it that way. Over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, there has been no greater time than this time to actually think about our parenting relationship. Parenting in times like this. Perfect topic. And why is this time a concern for parents? Well, we know all the things that are happening: social distancing, school closure, examination, exam cancellation, frustrated by the work quarantine, being isolated, the uncertainties, the grief, the anxiety, the boredom, the homeschooling, the lockdown. I mean, where do we start? Internet vices, where do we actually start? But I want to pick up this definition that Tope actually said, what actually started the post with that I saw, and I thought this was really a good way to actually, I want us to kind of look at what is parenting. And Tope says here that parenting is not a title. So true. It's not a course of a study. It's not a skill training program, nor is it an art. It is not a business or a career, but it is a responsibility of natural love and understanding between you and your child. And I concluded this topic by saying it is a relationship. So I want us to have that in our minds. Parenting is a relationship. It's a relationship where you have that responsibility of natural love and understanding between you and your child. Between you and your child, there's an understanding in this relationship between you and your child. So let's have that word relationship as we go along with what parenting is all about. The next thing I want to just share very quickly is, why is parenting so important? And this quote that I found many years ago and I've always used, it says, nothing has a strong influence psychologically on their environment and especially on their children than the unlived life of the parent. I want us to know that as parents, we play a vital role. The role we play is unbelievable. I mean, it's the influence of our society is based on our lives as parents. Are we living a lived life or are we living an unlived life? What is an unlived life really? What is an unlived life? I think I've got that here. Okay, cool. A life stuck in the past, a life with no goals, a life with no set intentions, a life on false image of self. I'm going to talk a little bit about these things. A life unwilling to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And if you know me, I focus on that line a lot. Parenting, we must be able to be open to learn, unlearn, and relearn in our parenting relationship. A life disconnected from today's world. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of fly back to my next question. Why must there be a shift in parenting? I mean, guys, we're talking about these times with all the things that are going on, the isolation, the internet, the world is just in a different place than it was even last year. This is February that we're in. This time last year, we hadn't even seen the beginning of lockdown yet in our own, in where we are. And between last year and this year, we've seen what has happened. We've seen the differences. We've seen the chaos. We've seen the uncertainties. We've seen deaths. We've seen, oh, what have we not seen in this season? And with seeing all these things, we're not the only ones seeing them. And we're not the only one being affected by them. Our children are being affected by them as well. Our children are hearing the news. Our children are hearing the fears. Our children are not in regular school. The stuff that they knew was normal to them, they were used to going to school, used to seeing their friends, used to going out going out shopping in the mall. They were just used to so many things that they were used to has been taken away from them. And they're in their own worlds. Our children are in their own worlds, wondering what's next, what is going to happen. Children who are in school, teenagers in school, they've always known the system. They know that, okay, they will do this year, that year, that year, that year, take the final. And now their final exams are being canceled or being shifted. So there's a lot of uncertainties around, for adults as well as for children. So the key now is, what is that shift in parenting? Why must that shift in parenting happen in this time? If we sit back and just say, well, we're going to keep on parenting as normal, the world is not normal anymore. The world has changed. So we can't say, okay, let's sit back and parent the way we've always parented. Oh, let's, you know, in my mom's days, in my dad's days, they got on with things. It's different. There has to be that shift in parenting. There's got to be. If we sit back and not make this shift, then guess what's going to happen? We are going to be like the unlived life we're going to live that unlived life of a parent. And that is going to affect our children. And I know none of us here want our children to be affected. None of us here want our children not to stand out in future. What's the point of having them if we don't have that goal for them to achieve in life? If we don't have that goal for them to be successful in life? What's the point? One of the reasons we must shift in our parenting is that our children have a lot of voices to contend with. That is number one. Our children have a lot of voices to contend with. All our children need to do is open the phone. All our children need to do is look on the internet. There are loads of voices listening to them. Back in our days, you only heard, okay, teachers' voices, your parents' voices, your, relatives' voices around you. The world was not really in our ears a lot. Okay, unless you bought a magazine back then, or unless you had access to CNN and all that stuff back then. We had limited voices around us compared to today's children. Today's children, all they need to do is open up the phone. Their voice is everywhere. So parents, one of the main things and one of my messages to parents is, whose voice is more influential in your children's lives? Whose voice is more influential? I wanted to use the word loudest, but I'm going to take the word loudest out because there's the shouting thing that parents do that there has to be a shift in that as well. We'll come to that. But whose voice is the most influential? Because what happens today is a lot of times we're doing a lot of talking. You must do this. You must do that. You must do this. You must do that. And the world is saying, why don't you try this? This is really cool. This is in fashion. This is the main thing. This is this. Do you see the difference in the voice? Yeah. So the first voice that said, you must do, you must do, you must do. And the world is now saying, why don't you try this? This is a great option. Speaking so nicely, speaking so calmly, speaking so invitingly. And our children love things that make them feel good. They love things that are not too threatening to them. And so a lot of times with these differences in those voices, our children hear the outsiders more than they hear you. And these outsiders, guess what, may not share your value systems. They may not share value systems.
That's true.
Children will be drawn to them because the outside voices have more influence. So the key for all of us as parents, especially in this time, is to make sure that our voices is the voice of influence in our children's lives. No matter how old your children are, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 15, 18, your voice has got to be the voice of influence. And the tricky part now in this is, how do you get your voice to be the voice of influence in the midst of challenges, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of when you're trying to correct your children? There's a lot that goes on. And that is why we've got to be as intentional. Intentionality is key. Because without being intentional, your voice will be tempted to go the other way. And when your voice goes the other way, you lose your children. And the unfortunate part about this is that many parents don't realize they're losing their children until it's too late.
Can I pick you on that, Phinnah?
Please go for it. Yes.
Yes, because when we talk about voices, and we say our voice has to be heard, we as parents, our voice has to be in the lead.
Yes.
Let's now put it into dimension the various environmental or the various policies that exist in different countries. The way I can talk to my child, you are in the UK, you are in the US, you can't do the same. Okay, and we have a very diverse set of parents here
Yes.
in this room today.
Yes.
So where is the balance? Okay, and we need to be very, very careful so that that voice or those voices don't turn out to be shouts and screams, and then eventually have another negative effect on those kids. So how can we maintain this balance?
Yes, we have to understand this, and this is what I tell parents. I'm not even going to blame culture. I won't blame culture, because right now, today, guys,
okay,
your child, wherever you live in this world, the internet has made the world a global village.
Yeah.
Whether you live in Nigeria, whether you live in the USA, whether you live in Switzerland, your children are living in a digital world right now. So this is not about, oh, because I'm in Nigeria, then I can shout because shouting is okay in Nigeria. That's not true. It's just a bad habit that many Nigerians and many cultures have embraced. It's not a culture to shout. It's a habit that we all formed, or our parents formed. We're living in a digital world today. And if you want to stay in the cultural bit where you say, shouting is fine, that's how my parents shouted, so I'm going to shout, nothing is wrong with shouting, then you have made that decision. That is a decision that you have made. And when I talk about not shouting, it doesn't mean not correcting. We now have to learn, how can we correct without shouting? Again,
without shouting.
Yes, how can we correct without shouting? Because remember, guys, you want your voice to be the most influential. And if you can have that in your mind, then you will be willing to unlearn any of the things that are not helpful. That's why when talking about my mission, where I said I'm on a mission to disrupt some parenting habits that are destroying our young people today. I've been a coach for young people and teenagers, and I've seen the effects, the negative effects of the shouting, of the criticizing. I've seen it. So when parents come and say, oh, Phinnah, how can I talk to my child? How can I talk to my child about, like, for example, now we've got Valentine's coming up. How can we talk to our children about Valentine's? Now,
that's another ball of gifts.
Okay, is it the shouting voice that you're now going to use to now speak calmly and make sense to your teenager about Valentine's? I mean, what voice are you hearing? That's why I'm saying we have to learn not to mix. We have to learn how to discard those shouting voices, because we need our voice of influence. So if there's a way we can learn how to correct without shouting, we win the game in the other conversations that we need to have.
Fantastic.
And I say this because I just want to say one more point. I say this because I don't want people to think that.
Yes, please, go ahead.
I don't want people to say I'm talking about it because I don't live in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, and I used to hate when people in my life shouted at me as a kid, because I couldn't understand why they needed to shout to make a point.
Now let's go back into still on that.
Yes, because it's a key part.
Spare the rod and spoil the child. Okay. A lot of people have understood this so differently, right? Yes. Let me take myself for example. I grew up under a very, very strict parent, okay, but different level of strictness. While growing up, I tell you, my father is that type that would not just beat you anytime. Would not just, before I could beat, man, that means that's been a very, very grave offense. But my mom can beat you in advance. Okay, yes. you're just passing by. You just see that slap flying. Yeah, what have I done? What you did 2 days ago. That's why I'm beating you now. That's my mom for you. So I grew up under this two set of people, and at some point I had to come to my mom on it. I remember this very well, 1997. And I asked her, are you sure you're my mom? Why? Not because she didn't love me, but I just felt she was too strict. She was a teacher. Now she's late, blessed memory. But she was a teacher, and I just felt you were too strict for me. Imagine, you cannot believe that my mom taught me in GSS2, and she taught me English language, and I scored 96 in an exam.
Wow.
My mom decided to punish the kids in school, in the class, anyone under 40. She did not touch me in class. But you cannot believe that when I got home, I received the punishment for scoring 96.
because it wasn't 100.
For me, this is just like, how come? Why? And she picked on the 4 that I missed. I don't know if it's 4. I don't know how she calculated. I said, you should know this. How come you don't? So I felt that was too much. And that made me create a bit of hatred for her at some point. All right. It took me a lot of time to get to realize the fact that she meant good. So spare the rod, spoil the child. A lot of people today, now I have kids. In my kids' school, they dare not beat. I can't even touch my child in their school. The teachers cannot beat them. So this kind of different parenting style, what would you say about it? Do you still feel when we are sparing the rod, we're actually spoiling the kids?
No, I don't believe that.
And I know a lot of people have the same question.
Yes, it's a very valid question, because the rod is not a stick for beating. If the rod was a stick for beating, I always ask this to parents, then why in Psalms 23 did they tell us the rod staff comforts me? If the rod is a stick for hitting, why would the rod in Psalm 23 comfort me? So the rod is a rod of direction, is a rod of guidance. The shepherds in those days used the rod in guiding the sheep. It's like, don't go this way, guiding. And guiding is with our words. Guiding is with our teachings that we teach our children. So we should not spare the rod. We should not spare the guidance. We are mandated to guide our children. So we can't spare it, but it's not the stick. It's not the stick that guides. Do you see what I mean? It's not that beating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guidance. It's not the beating that is the guidance. And I love that you shared this story that you shared now about your mom. Blessed be her name. Because a lot of times I tell our parents did what they did because they thought that was right. They did what they knew was right. Now, as we are adults today, we look back and we say, that wasn't right. No, they could have been a different way.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking there could have been a different way, would you want to continue the old way when you know there could have been a different way?
No.
And the key is,
no.
I take this quote from Maya Angelou, and I kind of twisted it for parents. And I said, when we know better as parents, we do better. So we know that those things, that's too much. That's too much. We need to check it up. Your mom, probably her own mom was even more strict.
Probably.
But she now kind of blended it a bit and just changed it up a bit. Now it's your turn to change it up a bit in your life. The consequences of, and you were matured enough. I'm sure you had gone through lots of personal development training, a lot of self-reflection. For you to have that conversation with her and ask her those questions from that. Many people haven't had those conversations. Many people are still carrying the bitterness of their parents with them in their lives today. It's affecting marriages. It's affecting their own relationship with their own children. There's so many things that are wrong in the families today because of parenting. That is why in times of today, in times like this, we must make the shift. We must make the shift, because if we don't make that shift, we will have ourselves to blame in the end.
So, but now talking about making the shifts,
yes,
there are a lot of things contending to this make shifts you're talking about.
Yes.
Time is number one. Most parents today don't have that time. I'm sorry, I'm taking you a bit away from the presentation.
No, go for it. It's supposed to be interactive. I love it.
Yes, we want to be interactive. And guys, please,
I love it.
If you also want to drop scenarios or questions, please make use of the chat button and drop them.
Yes.
When a mother or parent, a working class father, working class mom, and they have to go out, say, let me keep using Lagos. I lived in Lagos for a very long time, and let me keep using Lagos. If you live on the mainland and you're going to the highland and you actually don't leave your house at about 5 o'clock, you're probably going to be late to work, okay?
Yes.
And now, this is one thing. A lot of people leave home early. They leave their kids to house elves. House help topic, a different ball game entirely. And they come back. They spend most of their time at work. Actually, they spend 40% of their time at work. They eventually spend 50% of their time in traffic. That is 80, and only spend about 20% of their time at home. When they're home, they're tired. So where is this time? A lot of them are here in this room today. There are quite a lot of, so what will you say to them? I'm not going to tell them to leave their job because they want to keep a family, but what exactly would you say to such parents on how to be able to balance this, on how to be able to ensure that the so many voices do not overcrowd, overshadow their voice as a parent, to be sure that the voice of the house help, I have a friend that the child will listen to the house help and disobey the parent. Why? Because she's listening to the voices of the house help, right? And then when the house help eventually have to tell that child, you know what, let me see what is under your pants. Let me see what is under your skirts. They will obey the house help more because this is who they know. This is who they know. A lot of people today, their kids don't know them. When I say no, I don't mean just know you as father or as parents. No. When I'm talking about knowing, I'm talking about real knowing. Imagine a child, the house help actually telling the mom the best food for the child. No, Oga madam, they like chop that one on Indomie they chop. You see. That's a signal something has gone wrong. That is a signal when the house help is even already telling you how your child reacts when he's hungry. When your house help is the one leading you into discussions she has had with your child, then there's the problem. How do we address this? The environment is not helping us. The traffic is not helping us. But how can we balance this?
It's very important. Priority is really, really important. I know, yes, we've got to make the money. We've got to be able to, pay the bills. So it's very important, pay school fees for children. All these are very, very important. So I would never judge a parent for going out there for the family. The key is now in how much are you putting into the relationship when you come back home. And yes, I understand that we can be tired, but we've got to really look at, okay, so when we come back home, what is the routine that we have with our children? And I tell you something with children, a lot of times it's not about the quantity of time. It's the quality.
It's the quality.
You spend with them. It's not about the quantity. You can't be with them 24/7. It's not possible. It's what you do in the little time that you're with them that matters. And that is what sticks in their minds. And that is the influence that I'm talking about. You can spend 24 hours in front of your children, but you're watching TV, you're speaking to somebody on the phone, you're on your WhatsApp, and then somebody else can spend 10 minutes with your child. And it's that 10 minutes that your child remembers. So it's more of the quality. And I say this to parents because I don't want parents to feel guilty that they've got to go to work. No. I don't want parents to feel guilty that they're busy everywhere. What they need to now do is, okay, I'm busy with work, good. I'm getting the money for the home, good. What is that time I'm spending with my children?
Yeah.
And it's not about bringing your child next to you and then all of you watching TV. No, it's the quality time, the conversations, the questions you're asking your children in those 10 minutes. But then make those 10 minutes consistent. Don't do 10 minutes on Monday, do 10 minutes on Sunday. Make it consistent so that now your child is even looking forward to you coming back home so that they spend that short time with you before they go to bed.
Fantastic.
Make it a priority. And if you can't come home by the time they go to bed, then I would say, personally for me, I would say take a day off, take some time off where it's consistent. Make the time, because our children are only young they're not young for too long.
No, that's true.
Before you know it, your 10-year-old is already 20. Before you know it, your 12-year-old is already 22. Before you know it, even that 5-year-old is already 16, thinking about boys and boys thinking about girls. So honestly, the time that we have with them is not too long. So it's important that we sit back and prioritize what is important to us. And that's what I would, that's the answer I would give in terms of that. Don't feel guilty that you've got to go to work, but think about now how you can spend a quality time with your children on a consistent basis. And their influence will be much stronger.
Thank you so much, Phinnah, for that amazing answer. I believe it's going to help a lot of other parents listening to us or that will listen to the recording afterwards. Great. So let me allow you to run through the presentation because a lot of people have questions and they would love to ask. Then I also have a couple of questions here that I still also want to ask you. So guys, please keep dropping your questions. I'll moderate and pick those questions and after that.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. And please, in the middle of it, come back and, if you want to ask me a question in the middle, go for it, because I'm just presenting, but I really do want to answer parents' questions and stuff. So yeah, that's great. Okay, awesome. So let's see how this time. Okay. So this is one thing that what should parents know in parenting in times like this. And for me, the number one thing that parents must know, and I practice this as well, is the power of your words. The power of your words. When we're talking about the influence that we're talking about, it comes from your words. What is the power in your words? The power in your words is what is going to influence and actually make your children have that personal relationship with God. If you're Christians, whatever religion you are. It's the power in your words that is going to influence their emotional strength. And in times like this, our children need emotional strength. It's in the power of your words that your children are going to be able to build resilience. Guess what? Without resilience, I don't know how they can get up from a setback. And setbacks we know they're going to have. In the power of your words is what influences your self-esteem. And we need our children to have a high level of self-esteem to be able to deal with the peer pressures out there. There's a lot of peer pressure out there for our children. And it's the level of their self-esteem that will determine if they're going to fall for the peer pressure or if they're going to rise above it. So your words in this season is so vital. Very vital. My next slide I had about, and I've talked about self-confidence as well, which is there. But for children, what I always say what children should know, just in case children are watching here, is that the first thing I want children to know, and I always aim to make children understand, is that they are amazing. It doesn't matter their background. It doesn't matter what they have. It doesn't matter what they look like. They are amazing. And for parents, if that word is a word that consistently comes out of our mouths about our children will believe that more. And when our children believe that, it really plays a role in the choices they make out there. Okay? Because if our children don't think they're amazing, when one little...
I like this.
Yes. When one little child comes and says, "Oh, you're beautiful," you see the little teenagers running to the boy. Running to the boy because somebody has told them. But if they used to,
so a friend of mine,
yes.
Yeah, sorry to cut in. A friend of mine just sent me something today, and
yes,
she talked about this Valentine stuff. She's a teacher, and the kind of notes that those kids, let me not use kids, those teens were writing to themselves.
Yes.
And that makes this resonate with me, that we need to take that space, what they're looking for in the peer acceptance or the peer validation.
Yes.
As a parent can already give that.
Okay? Exactly.
When you wake up in the morning and you look at your girl daughter and tell her you are the most beautiful woman in the world, lady in the world. You are amazing. You're precious to me. No one else can give you anything in this world apart from God. Okay. And if you need anything, physical things, you can still come to me now. Then that builds their confidence to a level that no matter what they hear from outside, they will validate that against what they hear from home.
Exactly.
So it starts from within.
Yes, it does. It really does.
That's when you now see them come to you and say, "Daddy, this boy told me this. This boy said this to me. He said he loves my dimple." You have to say it to them first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That's big. Valentine is coming up, guys.
Sorry. Yes. So vital.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing this.
That's okay. So from children knowing that they're amazing, then they can achieve. They know that they can achieve. I've written it. You can achieve anything, because I'm saying that I'm talking to kids here. That children, whoever is watching now or whoever is watching later, you can achieve anything. Respect and love is really, really key in children's lives. The fact that for them to learn the principles of respecting, for them to know that love is the greatest commandment of all, it leads them into the right choices. And the thing that many parents are scared of are the choices our children make. But respect and love, if our children can know that that's part of their being and their living, it really does help. For a child, I want you to also know that it's important to be fair to others. It's important not to be partial. It's important to be fair to your friends, be fair to people who are suffering. It's important to be fair.
I'm gonna chip in again.
Go for it.
This is eating me as well as I'm sure it's eating a lot of people. So now let's talk about the respect and love.
Yes.
A lot of parents believe that respect is one way. All right. The mother, excuse me, your children must respect you, but they fail to realize that. Excuse me. They fail to realize that truly you must also respect your kids. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, big time. Respect is a two-way street. And guess what? How are our children going to learn how to respect if they don't see respect from you? Remember, a lot of values, actually all values are caught, not taught. So we can tell our children, you must respect. That won't sink in. It's what they see you do that they will do. So I always say respect is a caught skill. They catch it from you, not that you teach them respect. So this respect we're talking about, they have to see it in you. How are you respecting them? How are you talking to them? That is the way, that's what they're going to learn first. Now you might tell them, you must respect. I don't need to respect you. I'm the mother, I'm the father. You must respect. Well, they would fear you. That's what they would do. What they do to you at that point is not respect, it's fearing you. So when you're there, they will do the right thing.
Wow.
When you're not there, they do anything. And for us as parents, we need our children to have us in their minds, even when we're not around. But if you insist that respect is just one way, they are the child, they must listen to what you say, and you don't need to respect them, guess what? That thing that you think they're respecting you is not respect. Is actually fear. So we have to practice respecting them for them to respect us. And then because of that, they would then respect outsiders. A lot of children today, and that's why you see a lot of teenagers and young teenagers being disrespectful. It wasn't as they became young adults.
Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Because now I also know someone of the school of thought, all right, and says, yes, I must respect my child. He has a daughter. And when I look at him, the respect, well, in quotes, now he's getting too much that this daughter can come into the conversation of adults and say, Daddy, I want to see you now. I say, no, because I have to respect my daughter. Yes. Every other conversation stops and I have to go. Okay, so where do we draw the line?
Yes, we have to. There's a balance in all these things. I mean, sometimes people now go to the extreme. And that's why when I'm talking about correcting our children, some people say, well, instead of correcting, I'll better not correct and then just leave it. No, we have a mandate. We must teach them respect and we must teach them boundaries. See, this example you gave now means that the father has not set up some boundaries. And parenting without boundaries does not work. It doesn't work because he will end up suffering for it. Because she will embarrass him. She won't know the difference when to stop and when to not stop, when to come into a conversation and when not to come in. So there has to be boundaries set. Yes, I'm respecting my child, but then my child to come and talk at me is not right and I won't accept it. So we have to teach that child because that child doesn't know that. We have to teach that child that there's a time for everything. The child there has to be boundaries. If not, children will go haywire.
This boundaries, do we need to set it like, okay, let's have an agreement. It has to be a documentation. I'm just saying this, I'm a bit sarcastic here, but no. How do we communicate these boundaries? Because I once saw a video also last year. I saw a video last year of a boy, I think in the UK or the US, I can't remember, that actually was destroying everything in the house, in the kitchen, because I think maybe the parents didn't give him what he wanted or something. And the mom was like, oh no, just leave him. I was talking to him quietly and calmly. it can happen in some areas. That boy will land in the hospital.
Yeah.
So how do we set such boundaries?
You know what? Boundaries are agreements. That's what they are.
Okay.
And the previous slide, I talked about our words being the main key. So that communication is the main key. And in agreements, you bring the family together. It's not about rules, because agreements are rules, but rules agreed together. And our children, honestly speaking, there's certain levels that when we get with our children, they hear us. You could bring your children to the table, no matter how young they are, and say, oh guys, come on, let's make these agreements together as a family. Let's have our family rules or our family agreements together. We won't do this. We will do this. This is for parents. Parents, I won't shout. Child, I will listen. You know, have those agreements together. Write them down on anything you want to do. Just write them down. And I tell you why this works, because when your child now does something different from the agreement, all you need to say is, that was not part of the deal.
Refer back to that.
Yeah, refer back to that. That's a reference point, because we all agree on it. And these agreements I'm talking about, it helps them even as they get to become teenagers. Because again, there's an agreement. Many homes don't have agreements. Many homes don't have agreements. And so children, very forgetful. That's why we can tell them one thing and we're repeating it over and over.
Let's take the question from Falado Samuel. Okay,
Yes.
It says at some point growing up, he realized that shouting actually helped to be conscious about his environment. His father shouts a lot and about not destroying, shouts a lot about not destroying his life. Just some things he believed to be right for him. He says his fear now is, as a parent, is what is technology going to turn our children to? Are we supposed to deprive them or allow them to use it, but hammer the nail on the problems they could encounter while using it? So I guess what I meant by technology now is the kids with the iPad, the kids with the internet everywhere. And you know, internet is a business. Okay, you cannot control what goes on the internet. Well, I think there's a certain way to control also. But I was shocked on a particular day during this lockdown period when my child, my 9-year-old son, was still doing his assignment on his iPad, and had adverts came in with a nude, almost a nude picture of a lady. I think they were advertising skincare or something.
I know.
And I was shocked. I quickly had to grab the iPad from him. But the mom said, do you know how many of such you will see in school while with the same iPad? So, and I think that tallies with the question of Mr. Samuel Falado. Say, how can we control this when technology today, it's causing a lot of mayhems and havoc in the life of these kids? A few weeks or months ago, there's something called Charlie or whatever on the internet, like magic and people doing it, and kids were doing this. So how can internet is not helping us? I keep saying it. A lot of people say may not agree, but while we cannot run away from it, looking back to this question from Mr. Falado, what can we do as a parent to be intentional in addressing this?
You see, the thing is, well, I remember some years ago, I watched a TEDx talk, and a lady said that parents today, we are immigrants to the digital world, while our children are natives of the digital world. And that just made me think. And I thought, wow, our children, the digital world, the internet is here to stay. And our children were born in the internet, in this digital world. And you can see with this crisis, everything now is done on the internet, both schooling, everything. So as parents, yes, there's the genuine fear of what the internet can do. But again, where do we come into play? Our words. I tell parents this: don't look at the internet as the enemy. You're more powerful than the internet. Your influence is more powerful than the internet, but you've got to use your words right. Again, talk about the problems of the internet and talk about the good things about the internet. Let your children see the things. A lot of times it's only the bad things we talk about. Our children are like, but I want to find out something about my homework. It's the internet I'm going to. I want to find out something about history. It's on the internet. All my parents are saying is that the internet is bad. So it's very conflicting for today's teenagers and today's children.
That's true.
The digital world is their space. That's what they were born into. They understand the system. And that's why you can see a 2-year-old already touching stuff on the, on the thing. And you're thinking, what does the 2-year-old know?
Yeah.
But it's their world.
Yeah.
So what we have to do as parents is get educated more about how do we speak to our children about the internet? How do we speak to our children about when they see something that is, oh, that's not part of our values. And that's why, again, we got to talk about values at home. And that's why when children see that, and children can even come and show you, oh, mom, look at what just came up.
Look at what I saw. Yeah.
But if the children don't have those values in place, those key moments, those regular conversations with you, then when they see that stuff on the internet, all they will do is they will look, is mom around? Is dad around? Then they will look at it more. So it's the conversations that we have with them. Don't make internet the enemy, because the internet is not the enemy. We've got to now teach them how to make this balance. And the question was a very, very good question. But I want to go back to the beginning of the question that talked about shouting, making him be conscious of his environment. You see, the thing about shouting is it makes you conscious of your environment. So you're conscious of when your dad is going to appear, when your mom is going to be there, when your mom, but did it make you reflect on the behavior and the behavior change? And that is what we want our children today to do, is to be able to reflect on what they're doing. Is it right? Is it wrong? I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. Is that transformation that we want from our children? So yeah, very, very valid question. But yes, let's now think of better ways to encourage our children about the pros and the cons of the internet. The internet is here to stay. Yeah. So I hope that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yes, I hope that answers it. Yes, great. Let's keep the questions coming, guys. Let's make this more interactive, okay? As we go on. All right.
Okay. All right. So those are the things I was just telling. Another thing I was telling kids, what kids must know is that they have to be readers in this generation. Our children have to be readers. They have to read. They have to be curious, because they have to stand out. They're no more competing with just people in their local schools. They're now competing with global kids. It's about global kids. So even parents, encourage your children. Encourage them to be curious. And when I'm telling you encourage them to be curious, please don't compare them. Okay, please. Comparing is another key. I can start talking.
That's another thing entirely.
I tell you, I can talk about that all day long. But comparing our children is not motivating. It doesn't motivate them. When you compare your child starts to feel less than. And when your child feels less than, they can't do more. So there's a lot of things that we need to start on doing. But children being readers is a very important part of the whole dynamic. And again, are they seeing us?
Great.
Are we reading as adults? Are they watching us? Do they see us interested in being curious about things? Or are we just sitting down watching movies all day long? Again, you've got to be very intentional in this. You've got to be very intentional. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Just to let you know, we have Iyaiwe in the room already now.
Okay. Awesome.
Is the moderator, so she can still jump in and ask questions as well. Awesome. There's a question from Dejiolo Okere, and I'll make this question general to everyone. Because we are here to learn. It's a masterclass. He asks if there are some search engines on the internet designed only for kids to use, wherein they can avoid all those adult sins and occurrences. Yes, I know they are. I also cannot remember the names now, but there was one, maybe when we do, we can always drop those names. Yeah,
exactly. We can find out for you, because there was one that Google had. There was one that I had that I shared a few years ago, but after
Kindle, there was one Kindle. Yeah.
Yes, but that was corrupted. That became corrupted.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
I think I remember that one became corrupted, because I remember sharing it and then having to retract. Yeah, something. You know what it's like with the internet. When something good happens, somebody else, one of these hackers want to go and spoil it. There was something wrong with that at the end. I think I remember that. So I don't think I shared that again next time. But yeah, we can find out and put on the platform.
Okay, we'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out and we'll put it on the platform. Yes.
Yes. And there are quite a few. There are also a lot of safeguarding tools that we can use so that you're tracking what is coming in for your kids. If it's YouTube, you can even, I think on YouTube, you can even set it where it's just the YouTube for children or something of that nature. So there are things out there for
yes,
them.
you can. You can set up YouTube for children. You can also set up your Netflix for children.
Yes.
And also on their iPads as well, you can actually put the age restrictions or something.
Yes.
And
parental controls.
anytime they will try to go to all those adult things, it blocks them. Yeah.
Yes. They're very available. Very available. Yeah, very available. Yeah. You know, guys, communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, and that includes our parenting relationship. A lot of times, I think we do focus a lot on communication as the lifeblood of relationships between husband and wives, parents, husband and wives, partners. That's where you see a lot of talk about communication. But it's very, very relevant to the parent and children relationship. And the parent and children relationship is the bedrock of who that child becomes. And is a lot of times parents are scared of the outside influence. Well, but if we communicated and had our voice of influence being the strongest at home, then it's very unlikely for outsiders to influence our children. No matter how much they look on the internet, if your communication relationship with them has been on par, it's very difficult for the outsiders to influence them. And I know sometimes this might sound like, whoa, how can that be? But that is why we need to look at what is working today and what is not working. And parents, when we talk about these things, about doing this shift, making this shift, we're not saying that parents are bad. No. When I tell parents, let's get into better parenting habits, I'm not saying that parents are bad. I'm saying that you're good right now, let's be greater. You're good right now, let's be better. We have to grow as our children are growing. We can't be the same parents we were when they were 5 years old to them and be the same parent now that they're 10 or 11. No, you've got to grow with them. If you don't grow with them, guess what? They leave you behind. They leave you behind. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You've got to grow. You've got to grow with them.
Wow. Great.
Yeah, I think Ian wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just posted a link where we can search for. I found something online. I thought
Awesome.
It's helpful as well,
Awesome.
where you can actually there are links to search engines that are actually safe for kids.
Awesome.
So we have Kitopia, teach the children well.
Great.
Kidul, you said it's corrupt, but please, when you do
check, please check that, because this was many years ago. So please, yeah, just check it. Yeah. It may still be normal right now, but yeah.
I love this communication. You said it is the lifeblood of relationships. All right.
Yes.
A lot of couples don't even talk. Okay. Yeah. When I say talk now, I mean it's not about the good morning thing. All right.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult for them now to talk with their kids, to have that conversation with their kids. What do you have to say to this? How can we improve our communication with our children? Okay, despite we're talking about times like this, let's be candid. Times like this is not fair.
Yeah,
we have a lot of things to gist on. Internet has taken over everywhere. You see the father on WhatsApp, the mother is on Instagram. The kids, they're doing things they like. So how can we ensure that we build back, we revive communication in our homes? And how can we do this in a way that we still enjoy our life? We enjoy our social media. Someone told me that there is in his home every day there is talking time, okay, like 30 minutes, where they just shut down every internet, shut down TV, and say, guys, let us talk. What happened to you today? What is your plan for tomorrow? I tried it for like a week. I can't lie to you. I think I need to go back to it because it worked a bit. That was when I realized that my two boys are totally different.
Yes.
Totally different. You know, when you communicate with your kids, you get into their heads and not just talk to them.
Yes.
You communicate, meaning you also listen.
Exactly.
So it is a two-way thing. Listen to them. They say the dungeous things. They say the stupid things, apologies, but listen to them. You learn from those things that they say. And that is when you're able to correct them in love. All right? You're able to correct them in things that, yes, you feel they need to do. Yeah, so communication, we cannot overemphasize that. And I think if you don't pick anything out of today's masterclass, take this home, that communication is the lifeblood of relationships. Exactly. Thank you very much. Just thought I should keep dying.
Yes, definitely. And guess what? When you consistency, the talking time that you talked about, start, even if 30 minutes is too long for a start with 5 minutes. Start with 10 minutes of that talking time, and then you build it up. So the guy that was doing 30 minutes, he probably started with 5 minutes first, and then it was now building up. Because if you jump 30 minutes as a new routine, then it's very hard to sustain it. You see what I mean? So start with smaller.
Yahweh wants to say something. Let us jump in, right?
Thank you so much. Well done. I'm really enjoying it, and I apologize for joining in really late.
We can't see you.
Let me put on my video. Can you see me now?
A little bit, yes, we can.
Yeah. It's a bit. Thank you. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. I just also want to add something. As much as we're saying we need to communicate with our children, the first thing is, do we wait till they are teenagers or about to be had up before we start the communication? Because I think the problem with a lot of parents are having with the teenagers or preteens is because there had not been an initiation of communication even while they were younger.
Yeah.
And so it's becoming a big challenge. You get to hear parents, I don't even understand my child. Exactly. I don't even know what he's turning into. Yes. Because if we have started by, saying things that we see every day, communication doesn't necessarily mean we need to sit them down, start talking. No. We could be in the kitchen and talk about things that are happening. We could be driving to school and talk about events, programs, and also that is communication. Yes. We could also ask them, how was your day? For some of us that do the school runs, that is communication. Knowing about their events, knowing about their day, knowing about people they relate with. Let me cite an example quickly, because I do want to. I was just talking to my son yesterday night. Yeah, it was quite late because I came in late. And imagine what we're talking about. I was asking him, Valentine is on Sunday. How was it for you this week in school? What, is that girl that you've really seen? Because the moment we try to shy away from some of this conversation, some of them we feel we parents are the perfect being on earth. We never had experiences.
Exactly.
And I put it up on my status some days ago. I said, share your experiences. It might be horrible, but there are ways we can communicate those experiences for them to learn. And you know what he told me? He said, I have some girls I like, but I think the girls likes me more. And that was something for me to pick up.
Exactly.
I picked that immediately. I said, oh, that's great. I closed that conversation yesterday night. Do you know today we talked about it deeply?
Exactly.
So communication is not until something happens before we pick up. We should make it an engagement. No matter how tired we could be, things are changing. Yeah. We parents are still in the analog life. These children are in digital world. And they get to see some things, they keep quiet because we parents will say, shut up, you are not supposed to know that. Hey,
that is another thing, huh? That is another thing.
We are sitting on a gunpowder that's ready to explode. I was at a speaking engagement yesterday. The children could not tell me the right names of the body parts. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
They were telling me wee, pee, kiki. This is a well-known big school. It's crazy.
It is.
That is communication on sexuality education, and parents are yet still shying away from it. We blamed our own parents that they never told us. Now we are doing worse. So I just want to chip in. Communication is not until we do 5 minutes, 30 minutes. It should be an ongoing thing.
It's an ongoing. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So thank you so much. I'm enjoying it.
Solid point. And I want to hone in. I want parents to see that example that you shared. You said that you guys talked about, he shared with it and you left it there.
Yes.
You see, you left it there because there was no point of making, you didn't need to go on and on about
to make an issue out of it.
No, not at all. Because what you've done in that situation, I want parents to hear that.
And
that creates
this is the problem,
the opportunity. Yeah.
Phinnah, I needed to talk about this more, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think the reason why these kids are not able to come to the parents, it's that fear of you're gonna make an issue out of it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going back to my mom. That is my mom for you.
Yes.
A simple thing, she will make an issue out of it.
Yes,
and I'm like, this
yes.
is too small.
Yes.
Why are we expanding? And she's like, yes, that was the same thing you did 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Stop, parents, stop making an issue out of nothing.
Yeah.
Let them be able to talk to you freely. Let them be able to come into your room and tell you that the driver slapped me on my butt.
Yes.
Let them talk about it.
Yeah.
That does not mean that child has been molested or
absolutely.
But they're scared that if I tell my mom that the driver slapped my butt, she's gonna say, "Hey, now you are no longer a virgin. That's a problem.
Exactly.
That's not gonna happen. This will not happen again." Yes, this is true. This is what parents do.
Someone just asked a question, ma'am. Someone just asked a question. Is it right for parents to model the behavior that they want their child to exhibit? Most parents want their children to do what they love. What if the child wants something different?
Exactly. And that's why it's key to observe, because always, to be honest, it's my passion. I'm excited about talking to parents. You know, in the Bible where it says, train up a child in the
way it should be. Yeah.
Every child has a way they should go.
Absolutely.
Every child is born unique, has a way they should go. It's now our jobs as parents to observe children. So yes, you want your child to be...
You ladies are opening my eyes something else.
Yes.
It is train up the child the way it should go, not train up the child the way I went.
No, exactly. Yes. At all.
Hey.
It's about how he should go.
That's deep, huh?
Yes.
That's deep.
It's how he should go.
How I went.
No.
He should go.
He should go. So when we
this is what our mothers didn't understand.
Yes, when we talk about modeling what we want our children to be, those are in character values. Like how to be respectful, you model it. You want child to be compassionate, model compassion. You can't model doctor because your child may not want to be a doctor.
Absolutely, ma'am.
You know what I mean? So
you just talked about me because it took God for my mom to forgive me for not being a doctor. Okay. I was till I even finished studying engineering. She kept saying, "My friend, you are in the wrong profession. From age 7, we've been calling you doctor. What do you want to become in life? An engineer to fix bulb." See, your friend, and she keeps mentioning all my friends that were medical doctors.
Yes.
And as at that time, I wish you could see me today. I said, no, really, it's not what it. Wow.
Oh, bless.
Thank you so much, sharing, ladies. Thank you so much. This is really what we want to hear.
But ma'am, truly, a lot of us in this generation still want our children to be what we filled in. Majority never achieved what those parents of ours wanted us to do, and we still feel our children could achieve it.
Yes.
And so that is the driving force a lot of parents are putting into today's children.
Yes.
And it's so sad. Majority of these children now wants to be fashion designer, they want to be artists, to be a painter, a sculptor. They don't even want to be engineers. They are not interested. And so it's amazing that even in our generation, we still think you have to go for nursing before you can be respected in the society. So that pressure, we are still putting it on our children in this generation. So when the person said, is it right for parents to model the behavior? In fairness, are we actually modeling right behavior in the presence of our children? These are questions we should be asking ourselves. Majority of us parents now are living the modeling of culture, value, respect to the school, to the church.
Yes.
And so, and when the school are doing it, you will hear parents saying, "But I'm the one paying your salary," in the presence of the children.
Yes.
They will say, if I don't pay the money, how will the school pay you as a teacher?
Yes.
If I don't bring my child to the church, will you have the right to talk down my child? When we had failed in putting up the right behavior we want them to put up in the society.
Exactly.
There's something I saw recently, I think today, and it says, people that hurt others have not been well trained. Because if they were well trained, they would not hurt others in the society.
Yes,
and that is what I want we parents to start doing right.
Yeah.
If you can't just be, I tell parents, I talk to children. When I tell parents, I said, you can't blame a child you have not trained.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So stop blaming children. Stop putting your blames on children when you had failed in your responsibility to do things right in their presence. Because when you treat a carer that is caring for your child at home, when you shout down at them, when you insult them, your child also will eventually act that way.
That's true.
When you're talking to your sibling on phone and you're calling them idiots and all that, the same way you have called them idiots, your child will call his or her sibling idiots.
Yeah, that's right.
So model what you want your child to see.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection. We're not talking about perfection here. But truly, we're saying model what you want to see in your child.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I think it's getting really heated there, and I love the questions that are coming as well. So there's a question from Engineer Yemi Adeleke. It says, it's still about internet. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please take the question.
Okay, easy, sir, easy. Okay, said, well done, Bami and your media crew. My question is about internet usage. There are different parental views. Some believe it's after secondary school, a child should have access to mobile phone. If need be, let the child use his or her parent phone for assignments or other important things. Some have other view. What is yours and your guests? From Engineer Yemi Adeleke. So, awesome. Mama, take it up, ma'am.
Yes, please. Very, very, very good question, Engineer. Very good question and very vital in today's world. But let's go back to that topic of that. Let's go back to the part where we said your child is unique. So
absolutely.
Tell this to parents, yeah. Your 16-year-old may be different from somebody else's 16-year-old. Your 16
yes, ma'am. That's true.
So you don't have to go according to what other parents say about
the comparison you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you don't. Yes, you don't have to wait. If people say, "Oh, when after secondary school, a child should have phone," no, that's not necessarily. Your child may be more mature. Your child may be more responsible, even at 15 or 16 or 12. So it depends on your child. Don't restrict your children because of other people's expectations.
Yes.
Don't restrict your children because of other people's expectations. Know your child. It's now your job to observe your child, talk to your child, understand your child, and if your child needs the phone and you know your child is going to be responsible with it, of course you're going to keep an eye on it. If the child misuses it, you can keep it away. But know your child. Don't say, I'm waiting because some parents said after secondary school. After secondary school, your child is already 17, 18. No.
And it still boils down to your communication you mentioned earlier, ma.
Exactly.
Have we also discussed about the usage of those vices with our children?
Exactly.
Before you can give a child a tablet or a phone or something, did you let them know the consequences of what they will be exposed to? Are they aware of what is happening on the internet? You know, this is communication, not what people are doing.
Absolutely. And let me the point of Mr. Falado Samuel just corroborates what you both just said. He said, in his own case, he said the day he knew about Igbo cannabis was the day himself and his mom were on their way to somewhere, and the mom smelled it, told him about it, and immediately he dread it swore never to smoke it. Back then in school, the get inside children were the ones who were easily lured into secret cults and prostitution. What the impact of exposure to our children, the get inside children, seemed very unexposed, and they are easily lured to bad situation. You just nailed it, sir. You just nailed it.
You did. You did.
People actually are saying, don't do this. Don't know about Igbo. Don't know about cultism. Don't know about sex before marriage. Don't know about this. They will learn it outside. Either you
but
like
sir,
it or
is it wrong? Is it wrong to share our experiences with our children, even if we don't want them to see? Let our children know we once erred. We once made mistakes.
Yeah.
Why are we so scared of
Absolutely.
sharing these mistakes with them?
Yeah,
Why?
but also make it age appropriate. You know, there's some age.
Okay.
Yes, that's it, sir. That's
Yes,
it, ma. Make it age appropriate. They can learn from.
Yeah. Make it age
It's not
appropriate.
everything we're saying you should expose them to, but let them just know there are times mommy told me we shouldn't do this, but I tried it and I never liked the feeling. I never liked the consequences.
Exactly.
So that they will know that, oh, so if mommy says, daddy says don't do this, there are consequences.
So Phinnah, what is the appropriate age to teach sex education?
Oh, again, it depends on your child's maturity. Some 11-year-olds about it. Some again, and it is when we're talking about that sex education, it comes in bits. You can start to 5, 6, but it's in bits. You're not going to share. There's some things you're not going to share to a 5-year-old that you will share.
Absolutely.
So it comes in stages, and you build them up. That's what you do. You build them up in stages. So you're talking about little things like the parts of the body, and sure that people nobody's allowed to touch this. Nobody's allowed to. That as early as, but there's more deeper things that you won't be telling a 5-year-old. You'll be telling that more to a teenager. But I tell you, all these topics that we're talking about, how we can talk to our children, comes from, again, this communication, on learning. Parents, I will keep on saying this because I think God has made me a preacher on this topic. No
say
shouting.
it, mama.
I tell you, this no shouting thing that we're talking about, shouting affects so many areas.
Yes.
The shouting ends up blocking their ears for when you want to.
That's true. That's true.
And then we'll say more. Oh, yeah, they're not listening. They're not listening. The shouting is blocking their ears. The shouting is opening their ears to outsiders. If we can learn the technique of not shouting, communication will be good with communication. And that
adults too don't like to be shouted at. So when you don't like as an adult, children too don't like it.
Wow.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there's a question from Great Grace. Okay. And she says, how can parents exemplify and communicate time-tested values that can secure the future of their child?
And can she give us an example of a time-tested value she's talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Please. So Great Grace, if you're listening, just give us examples of the time-tested values that you actually.
Just an example, I think I know what she means, but let her. If I can get an example from her.
Okay. How many slides do you still have? I still have some.
No, it's okay. We don't have to. No, let's go with questions. No, go for it.
Okay. All right. So talking about impact of financial stress on a child. And I put a twist into this. I said there's financial stress, there's abundant stress. Okay. The financial stress when you don't have the money, and your child is actually affected or impacted because you don't have it. Your abundant stress is when you even have too much and your child is suffering because you have that money. So how can we in this class today, what would be your advice to us, whichever way we fall, either where we're still struggling a bit, or when we have an abundance, how can we raise children in these times like this in a way that not having too much is not reflecting in them? They're not doing badly in school because their mother is a hawker. Hawker, no, I mean hawker, not
I know what you mean.
Or they're not doing terribly. When I say terribly now, I have also in primary school, I have a friend, actually a very good friend of mine, I don't know if he's here now, a friend whose parents were one of the richest in this period, in that time. And I tell you, the only thing that spoiled his WAEC then was Yoruba, where he had, I think he had P7, or every other thing, F9. Okay. And why? Because they had everything. And he thought he had everything at that time, but he failed woefully. So what would you say to such families as well also that have spoiled their kids because they are in abundance?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
It's actually a question from the network.
From the network. No, and it's a very good question because it then relates to what Great is asking as well about values. You see, values are actually the key that solidifies each way, whether you're financially stressed or abundantly, whatever direction you're in, the values is what seals you together. Because what happens with that, values takes the focus away of the no money or the too much money. Because no money, too much money is not going to be, that's not your life legacy. Your life legacy is in the way you treat people, the values that you hold on to.
Absolutely.
Manage with no money. No, aim to have more money. You know what I mean? Aim to work harder to have more money. That's good. Having money is good because then you're able to buy things for your children. You're able to send them to a good school. So that's all good. But when you have values, when you focus on values and your children focus on values, that is the key, because with values, whether you have money or you don't have money, you're growing in values. And those values are what is going to take you out there. Those values, you have integrity, you're respectful, you have empathy, you're hardworking. It will open doors for you. No matter whether you came from a home of no money or you came from a home of too much money. The values is what is key. Because if we focus on the money or the no money, then we've left the values away. We're nobody. Who is going to employ you? Who is going to take you on with a contract? There is values they're looking at. There's values they're looking at. So that brings me now back to Grace, her question on how can parents exemplify these values. These values are so vital in today's world, especially in this. What is going to make a child stand out? A lot of times I talk to teenagers as well. And I say, yes, you can get A stars. A stars are great. Distinctions are awesome. But what is going to make you stand out? Because if you go for a job interview and 5 of you have A stars.
And no social skills.
No social, thank you. Who are they going to? They need to pick this person that stands out. And you stand with, because when you have integrity, when there's that respect factor, I teach teenagers this. You come in, you shake the interviewer's hands. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing? The interview guy takes you, how are you doing? He said, I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing, sir? It's nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
There's a way you come in. There's a presence you bring in.
Yeah.
That just stands you out. And guess what? All the guys on the panel, they just tick a box.
Just
tick a box.
That's it.
So that is what we need to exemplify as parents.
That's what Great Grace has given you as example. Integrity, excellence, respect and empathy.
Exactly. Right. So you bring, when you exemplify, even for as parents, we talk about integrity. I think Tope gave an example where, a parent is there shouting to their siblings on the phone and screaming. That's no integrity in that. There's no respect in that.
At all.
Exemplifying disrespect. And then, or someone comes to your house, you're very nice to the person in front. When they go out, you start
discussing about the person. In the presence of the children.
And your children are hearing it. Your children are two different sides.
Two-mouthed. Yeah.
And it causes our children. And that's why sometimes you hear children saying, because
it's true.
And children are saying, but my parents are not authentic. And I'm like, well, what so? It's because they see those two sides of you.
Yeah, they say it. They say it.
They say it. So when we talk about exemplifying, do you know what, guys? Every day you wake up in the morning, you are an example to your children.
Absolutely,
and even if you're not talking to them, because the walls have ears, they're in the house, they can hear you.
Yeah.
So you can say, oh, but I wasn't talking to them, I was talking to my fellow adults. No, but how do you speak to fellow adults?
They see the body language. They see the verbal communication, non-verbal.
They're seeing it. So it's really, really key. And parents, when we're saying these things, I always want parents to know that we're not passing judgments on you guys.
At all. Not at all.
That's far from it. That is so
we just want us to be better and to be able to cope with 21st century children.
Thank you. Because if not, guys, the regret at the end. The regret is too much. I work with parents. I work with parents. The regret at the end is too much.
Okay, maybe I need to quickly share this example as well.
Please go for it.
Yes, with my job, thank you, ma'am. I'm a certified counselor, and recently there was a child I had to attend to. 3 weeks ago. And what was the issue? It was this financial issue Mr. Tokwe just raised. The COVID affected the family, so the father had to change the job and had to move from the high-rise environment from Ikoyi to Ojoduberga. So obviously the child's school had to be changed as well to the school I was called to. And the child was not aware that daddy was going through some financial issues. They never talked to him about it. They just told him he was a brother in one of those big schools on the island, and so he was moved to another school as a day student. And you know the problem why a counselor I was called in, he refused to mingle with other children in the school. And this was his excuse.
Of course.
They are not the kind of children I relate
I'm
with.
used to.
They are low profile children. I don't mingle with people like this. That was the first thing he said to me. So then I asked him, I said, but I'm also low profile. You can see I'm not riding a nice Jeep. I'm just riding a RAV4. It's not as big as you think. He said, but I love the way you're looking. So he judges individual with their outlook.
Yeah.
And so when I had to engage the parents, I said, so what actually happened? And the reason why they called for a counselor was because he wasn't talking to them anymore in the house as well. That behavior had affected them in the house. He wasn't talking to his parents anymore. He wasn't their friend. He wasn't even opening his mouth. So he comes back from school, go to his room and shut the door.
Wow.
I'm assuming he's a teenager, yes?
He's a teenager. He's a teenager, man. And so, and I told the parents, I said, yeah, see, failures happens in a life. Failure is a teaching curve for an individual. If COVID came when no one was expecting it, a lot of things happened. You could have just talked to this child.
Exactly.
Because if you had talked to this child, it wouldn't have degenerated to this issue we're having now. And you know what he said? He said, I can't forgive my parents because they lied to me. They were living a false life. Because they were still telling their friends that my daddy is still working in this so place. Let me just skip the name. Whereas we are not living that life anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so what I'm
disappointment already set in.
Disappointment was in the child. Hatred has set in, and he himself was going through lots of depression because the lifestyle he was living, he couldn't meet up anymore. So that communication is key. Even if we're not picking anything tonight, communicate issues with children. Even if you don't want your child to see you as a failure, communicate, use story to bring up issues for children to see. It's very important. And so eventually we had to call in the parents. They had to apologize. They had to tell him the truth and all that. And that is where we are at the moment.
That's great. Wow. Thanks for sharing, Mom. Thank you so much. We can actually have this communication as a whole topic for another masterclass. Really, we have to go on and on and on again. Oh wow! If we don't stop, then we will just keep going. So, Phinnah, I guess is this your last slide?
That's fine. Yeah, it can be the last one. It doesn't have to. I can stop sharing. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for coming on this program. And it's been an hour and 35 minutes of masterclass, and really I've been seriously blessed. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that a lot of us on this platform today also have really learned. Thank you so much, Phinnah. Thank you so much, Yaiwe, for coming on the show. I'm quite happy.
You're welcome, sir. I really had a good time.
Thank you, myself. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone again that took your time to be in the class today. The recording will be available to you latest. I don't know, Eman is going to work on that, and probably by Tuesday the recording will be on YouTube. So we're going to post the YouTube channel again. What I want you to do so that you get the notification is just subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is it. And then click the notification bell button, and that will enable you to get the videos anytime we get to post them. And again, okay, we're talking about masterclass.
I'll just say a last word before you finish. When you're done.
Yeah. Okay, just a minute. We're still talking about masterclass. We're talking about Andele. So we are on WhatsApp. We have two groups, Group A and Group B. Group A is totally full. Group B will be full very soon. and it's free, and we'll just share things about kids. This is a place for you to be as parents. If you have a child between the ages of 5 to 10, that's what we're really targeting at this moment. Later, we'll do something around the kids as well. That is the chat group. Please join us as well. It's free. And something is cooking, okay, from the stables of Masterclass with Tokobandele MCTB, and that is the MCTB mentoring platform. Okay, so we're going to start that in March. All right, and if you're interested to have your child mentored by amazing mentors, okay, great mentors, not just mentors with high profile. All right, just drop me a mail at masterclass.tokwebandele. Eman, can you drop that as well? masterclass.tokwebandele@gmail.com, or you follow all our social media. Instagram is at tokwebandele. You will get more updates about the mentoring program as it comes by. Okay, thank you very much. So Phinnah, you have the last words, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Just to conclude, parents, that you are amazing. Each and every one of you are amazing set of parents. I want you to know that. And I also want you to know that no matter the mistakes that we've made in the past, we can always restart again. You can always press that reset button. Don't say, well, I've not done it well all these years, so what's the point? There is a point, because it's better to
start now.
It's better to make the rest of your children's lives better than just stay on and just keep managing. We weren't born to manage. We were born to succeed. We were born to prosper. And that includes prospering in our parenting relationship. So I want to leave that with you guys and say, go and think about it. Go and write what you need to change. Go and write what you need to do more of, and take this journey as seriously as you can take it, because it impacts the lives of your children as they even become adults, and even when they grow in and become married couples and parents themselves. So just keep doing your best. You are amazing. And I trust you. And I am rooting for you as you continue this journey of parenting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phinnah. Thanks for doing this with me today. I really want to say a very big thank you to you. You did this pro bono, and that's to show the passion you have for kids and especially for teens. So let's just please follow Phinnah on Instagram. I think your Instagram handle is at Phinnah Chichi, right? Yes, at Phinnah Chichi. So please follow her on Instagram, and you will see those amazing stuff that she's already doing. All right, so this is where we draw the curtain for Masterclass with Tokobandele Module 14. The next edition will be Module 15, and it's going to be in another 2 weeks. And I promise you, this is going to be another blockbuster again. All right, so watch out for MCTB Module 15. And send us your feedbacks if you see something that you feel we should improve on. But just know, this is just an amateur video, so don't tell me to improve my video right now. I'm not going to spend money to buy any camera, unless you guys want to do that for MCTB. I say yes, we want to open MCTB studio. Very soon we will get there. Okay, we'll get there. So we're looking for YouTube editors, YouTube video editors. We're doing our best. Okay, so Eman is there with me even at home. He's a colleague in the office, and it's been amazing. He's the one that tried to sort out the YouTube videos and those animated videos that you see. And I have a good team that also works pro bono, and that is the MCTB network. They've been amazing. They sort for content, and I did want to say a very, very big thank you to you guys. You guys have been amazing. So Abayomi Akinwasola, Emma Ifeoluwa does all the design, the graphic design. He's been a great guy. Iyebiye, that's my wife. She manages the communication as well. Nubidolapo, Promise, Azan, Tolu Lokwe, Nathaniel Ajayi, Tony, and Toyo Raphael. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. I can't do this without you. So if you really want to join us as well, you're more than welcome. If you think there's any value you can add to people, okay, please come on board. You want to design, you want to help us with the YouTube videos, you want to help us with editing, you want to help us with content creation, please, you're more than welcome. The more, the better. All right, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Till I come your way again in another 2 weeks, I sign out. This is Tokobandele, and I'm saying, be good to everyone. Why? Because you're created to be. Thank you very much. Have an amazing weekend. I'll see you in another 2 weeks. Bye. Thanks so much, Phinnah. Thanks so much, yeah. God bless you real good. Bye-bye.
Slam dunk, are you ready to make me?